Over 1 billion people drink black tea every day, but only a few know the secrets of this iconic drink. What makes black tea different from green tea? How and where is it made around the world? In this video, we're going to cover all that and more as we dive into the most popular type of tea in the world. We'll cover the health benefits, flavor, and brewing technique of black tea so you can become a pro in just 10 minutes. But first, what is black tea? All true teas come from the same plant, Camellia sinensis, but they're broken up into 6 categories: white tea, green tea, yellow tea, oolong tea, black tea, and dark tea. These categories are determined by how the tea is processed after it's harvested. Later in the video, we'll walk you through the steps used to make black tea, but the most important thing to know for now is that black tea is oxidized while green tea is unoxidized. When the tea leaf is picked, it will start to oxidize as the stem is exposed to oxygen. Eventually, this will cause the leaf to fade from green to brown, and the chemistry will be completely transformed. The polyphenols in the leaf, responsible for these fresh vegetable flavors, will be broken down into theaflavins and thearubicins. These compounds produce the warmer, more caramel flavors of black tea. If you drink a cup of good black tea, it's astounding to know that all the flavors were produced by a leaf. Black tea can be chocolatey, as in the case of Dianhong or Yunnan black tea. It can also be fruity, caramel, earthy, or even minty. All these flavors come not from adding other ingredients, but by manipulating the leaf itself. The theaflavins and thearubicins are also a form of tannin, so they can produce a slight bitterness in the black tea and a hint of acidity. This is likely the flavor you're all too familiar with if you're used to drinking black tea bags, but as we'll explore later on in the video, there's so much more to black tea than that. But almost as impressive as the flavor are the health benefits of black tea. Remember those theaflavins from earlier? These have been associated with a lower cardiovascular risk in several population studies. And what about the thearubicins? These can act as prebiotics, helping beneficial gut bacteria grow while limiting harmful strains. Because these polyphenols are larger, they make their way further in the digestive tract. Despite these impressive benefits, green tea is known as the healthy tea, and there are a few reasons for this. Because green tea is unoxidized, it retains more of its catechins, which are the principal antioxidant in tea leaves. These antioxidants have shown promising results in everything from weight loss to cold and flu prevention. Green teas, especially shaded Japanese teas like gyokuro, are also higher in theanine, an amino acid responsible for that calm, alert energy tea drinkers report having. L-theanine is also believed to stimulate alpha brainwave activity, the same brainwave stimulated during meditation and when you achieve a flow state while working. The L-theanine is reduced during the oxidation process, so it's found in much higher concentrations in green tea than in black tea. If you want to see what a big difference L-theanine makes in terms of energy levels, you can try some of the best gyokuro we found around Japan by visiting our website neoteas.com. But how is this oxidized tea actually made? Black tea begins its life just like any other type of tea, as leaves on the tea plant. How the leaves are picked will determine the type of black tea that is produced. The young sprouts on the top of the tea plant are the richest in nutrients and the sweetest in flavor, so these are the most desirable. A black tea made from these leaves can be naturally sweet, fruity, or chocolatey. This would be a black tea like Dianhong or Golden Tips. You really wouldn't want to add milk to this tea because then you would miss out on all the subtle flavors. To produce a mass market teabag tea, the pickers will select older tea leaves. These are bolder, maltier, and more bitter. These strong flavors are best paired with milk, and they have become a staple across the world. These can be either hand-picked or machine-picked to maximize the quantity. For the less expensive black teas, they will use the cut, tear, curl, or CTC method, which mechanically breaks the leaves into small, uniform particles that brew quickly and produce a strong, brisk base. Contrast that with the Orthodox method used to produce premium black teas like Keeman, Dianhong, or Jinjunmei, which keeps the leaves intact and preserves their natural essential oils until they're ready to be infused. Once the leaves are harvested, they need to be withered to reduce the moisture content. The leaves need to be laid out so they can dry and become pliable for the next stage. Once the moisture content has been reduced and the leaves are pliable, they go through a rolling stage. This bruises the leaves to break down the cell walls and expose the leaf to oxygen. Next, the leaves are left in a humid environment to speed up the oxidation. This is where the magic happens, as the catechins are converted into theaflavins and thearubicins. The tea trades these fresh, grassy flavor profiles for warmer notes of coffee, caramel, and chocolate. By the way, if you want a full breakdown of this production process, you can read the full Black Tea 101 guide on our website, neoteas.com. We dive into even more topics that we don't have time to cover in a single YouTube video. So if you like black tea, you won't want to miss it. So now that we have the oxidized leaves, it's time to dry them. The leaves are heated at a high heat in order to reduce the moisture even further and preserve the rich malty flavors of the tea. The fresh leaves start out with a moisture content of 80%, and by the time they're done, they're at 4 to 7% moisture. The dried leaves are now ready to be infused into water, but they need to be sorted and graded first. The larger leaves will be used to make premium loose leaf teas, while the broken leaves and dust will be used in tea bags. These loose leaf teas can be brewed in a teapot or a gaiwan, and the real tea lovers wouldn't dream of adding milk to them. If these black teas are produced right, they can have a rich, complex flavor and very little bitterness, almost like a fine wine. But black tea has a rich history, and it all begins in this little village of Tongmu, deep in the Wuyi Mountains. Prior to the 1500s, Chinese tea culture was dominated by green and lightly processed teas. As the legend goes, in the late Ming Dynasty, around 1600, soldiers were moving through this area and it created panic amongst the villagers. They felt they didn't have time for the long heating and drying processes used to make green tea, and instead just dried the leaves quickly next to a pinewood fire. This allowed the leaves to oxidize more than usual and created the world's first documented black tea, Lapsang Souchong. This fully oxidized tea traveled much better than green tea, which was extremely important in the 1600s when the world became defined by sea trade. The Dutch and British traders could buy this black tea at ports and bring it back to Europe. The flavor stayed consistent even on long sea voyages, and Europeans began to fall in love with the strong, bold flavors of black tea from China. But tensions between China and the British Empire began to grow, and in the 1800s, Britain began to look for an alternative to Chinese tea, who at this point held a monopoly on tea. Through a series of events involving wars, espionage, and colonization, the British had successfully set up tea plantations in India. This led to the establishment of massive tea growing operations in Assam and Darjeeling, permanently reshaping the global tea industry and ensuring that black tea would become the most widely consumed tea style in the world. India has now become the largest producer of black tea in the world. Although China produces more tea overall, a majority of it is green tea. Kenya, the third largest producer overall, produces 8% of the world's tea, and almost all of that is black tea. Sri Lanka comes in a close fourth place, and virtually all of their tea output is devoted to black tea. So as you can see, with the exception of China, the largest tea producers in the world almost exclusively produce black tea to keep up with the massive demand for this beverage. Japan is far behind these heavy hitters when it comes to volume, but what it lacks in quantity, it makes up for in quality. When visiting farmers in Japan and searching for the best green tea for neoteas.com, we occasionally come across a wakocha, or Japanese black tea. This is exceedingly rare in Japan, making up only 0.6% of the country's total tea production. Producers in Japan focus on these fresh, steamed vegetable or seaweed flavors you find in a tea like gyokoro. But if you do find a Japanese black tea, chances are it will be quite good with lighter floral and fruity notes. When we were visiting farmers in Shizuoka, they took us to their black tea facility, which was actually shared by a few other farmers in the area. Black tea is so rare in Japan, very few farmers actually have their own dedicated facility, and they have to share with others. This additional step makes wakocha quite expensive compared to even a top-shelf sencha. But we've talked a lot about the health benefits and flavors in a black tea. Now let's show you how to actually brew it. Before we get to that, if you're enjoying this video so far, it would really mean a lot to us if you could like this video and subscribe to see more like it in the future. We just checked and 77% of you guys are not subscribed, which is really too bad because we're going to be covering a ton of interesting topics this year that we've never talked about before on this channel. Please make sure you also sign up for notifications so you don't miss our next tea episode. Now let's get brewing. So black tea can stand up to higher temperatures compared to green tea because it has less of these bitter catechins. This means that you can use 95 degrees Celsius or 205 degrees Fahrenheit water to prepare the tea. How much leaf you use depends on what type of brewing style you want. If you want to make a large pot of tea, you can use a Western style brewing method with 4 grams of leaves and 500 milliliters of water. Brew the tea for about 2 to 3 minutes and then remove the leaves to stop the infusion. You can then reinfuse these leaves 2 to 3 more times until they lose flavor. If you want to use the Gongfu method and enjoy a richer, more high-definition brew, you can use 5 grams of leaves and 100 milliliters of water. For this, you'll want to use a smaller vessel like a gaiwan or a small clay pot. Let the tea brew for 20 seconds on the first infusion and then add 5 seconds to that brewing for each subsequent infusion. When you're using this method, you can brew these leaves at least 8 times before they lose flavor, and each cup will be slightly different. The first infusion will be lighter and more aromatic, and later infusions will be more bold and earthy. So black tea is a remarkable drink that has gone on to conquer the world. It's hard to believe that this complex cocktail of fruity, floral, chocolatey, and caramel flavors all come from a single leaf. We hope you've enjoyed this journey through black tea. If you want to learn about other teas like green tea, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and check out some of our other tea videos. If you want to try all the best teas we found during our travels around Japan, you can visit our website, neoteas.com. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.